Hello everyone. Welcome to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planet Green's Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. Today, on yet another episode of Home Crop Explore with Shilpa, we are at Ekam Early Learning Center. This is the baby we created, keeping in mind the philosophy of sustainability. I wanted to explore with you all the practices we have at this school and what all we have looked into every aspect of a child's growth and their upbringing. So let's begin. Hi Mukta, how are you?
Welcome to Ekam.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Mukta. How is it going?
It's going really great, and I feel honored to welcome you to our school like a guest.
Thank you. So, I'm at Ekam, our baby, and I'm with my dearest friend and our co-founder, Mukta. Hi, Mukta.
Hi Shilpa, it's so good to be on your show today.
On my show because we are doing something which relates to my show, and I also want to mention the viewers that when we started and conceptualizing this school, every little aspect resonated with that of Mukta's, so we had that immediate go ahead kind of a vibe when we started this, and I want Mukta to take you through the school, and she will explain and let you all know every aspect of the school, why we did it, why we did what we did. So Mukta, I want to start by wanting you to talk about how we conceptualized the whole idea of this school and how we took it forward.
I still remember when we had met, say about more than a year ago.
Yeah.
And we wanted to start a school which was not just a world-class school but also resonated with our vision.
Correct.
So we wanted to create leaders of tomorrow who basically possessed the values of love, empathy, respect, and their love towards nature. And that's
right.
when Ekam was conceived. And I remember we were looking at so many buildings in and around Jubilee Hills.
I remember.
And how particular we were to look and find a building which actually was very green as well.
That's right.
Which resonated with our idea of sustainability, of being eco-friendly.
Close to nature.
Close to nature.
We didn't want like a concrete block of building. We wanted to have the scope of having plants and adding more greenery to our school.
And do you remember when we went to the terrace and saw the entire green belt all around?
Oh yes. I know that was the exciting factor, and also we wanted a place where kids could go and feel like it's an extension of their own home, but not like something that would intimidate them.
We wanted to set up a physical space which uses a lot of natural resources, and I think we've been very, very successful in doing that. When I'll take you on a tour of the school, we'll probably see what all has been used in school which resonates with our vision. And I'm sure, whoever comes to a school, they're very, very excited. Children are not there right now. But we do have school tours where parents sometimes comes to see our school, and everybody is very excited to see. It looks like a different kind of infrastructure that we've created, and I'm sure a lot of people want to send their children here once the school's.
So Mukta, when we started the school, we talked about Reggio Emilio. It's a curriculum and that we adopted at our school. I want you to elaborate and talk about what it is so viewers understand why we resonated with that philosophy and curriculum.
Basically, Reggio Emilia, if I talk about in a nutshell, it says environment is the third teacher. And we wanted to, it resonates really well with our vision and philosophy, where we want the environment to be the child's third teacher. The first and the second teacher being the parents and the real teachers in the school. So we try to create a very stimulating environment in school, which basically encourages the children to become inquirers, to ask a lot of questions.
Right.
And the questions that they ask becomes the curriculum, becomes our responsibility to teach them. So it's not bookish at all. It's stimulating their curiosity, making the environment very, very stimulating, and encouraging children to be good communicators as well.
Right.
So as we know that children are the future of the world, they are 25% of the population probably, but they'll be the 100% of our future. So we want to inculcate the right practices in the children right from the young age, because early
Such
years,
as what
so
we've been doing here.
we have adopted a lot of practices at school where of course, there's no usage of plastic, or maybe very, very minimal usage of plastic, something which really could not be avoided.
Right.
And minimal usage of plastic. We teach them habits like, switching off the electricity in the room, or maybe asking any elder, like a didi or a teacher, to remind us if we've not switched off. To use the water very, very resourcefully. So we've installed some fixtures on the taps as well, where the water flow is just the appropriate amount that should be used for washing, and no wastage of food. And the resources that we use in the classroom are also picked up from the nature.
I remember how many catalogs
Yeah,
we had
correct,
gone through
correct.
to make sure they're all wooden blocks
Yes.
and jigsaw puzzles
Yes.
and all of that. I remember
So all
those
our
days.
furniture is wooden. Most of the resources that we've used in the classroom are wooden. And in fact, a lot of resources are created there and then. So
Please talk about that. I think I want you to say how we created,
Yeah.
resources out of natural material.
Yeah. So firstly, we've got these little baskets in school, and we encourage children to go on a nature walk in and around the school, because there's a lot of greenery, collect twigs, collect leaves, flowers, and whatever they see around, sometimes feathers as well. And they are brought back to the classroom. They're used for as art materials. They're
Wow.
also used for numeracy and literacy. So, we can use them for counting, we can use them for comparisons, for measurements. We can also teach them new words using those natural resources as well. So increasing the vocabulary.
Right. So do you think, Mukta, if you're not letting them go out in the nature and picking up all these things that they see around, they'll not be stimulated enough? Because the classroom, you have set resources. When they go around in nature, they're constantly looking for different things. You think that happens only because the philosophy is sustainable and the Reggio Emilio, curriculum is inculcated?
Yes, of course. So what happens is play comes naturally to children, and that's their natural way of learning, and they are very curious, they are very creative right from birth. In fact, we as adults sometimes kill their creativity,
That's true.
Yeah, so I always quote this: a creative adult is a child who survived.
Say that again.
A creative adult is a child who's actually survived.
Oh wow, that's beautifully
Yeah.
said and beautifully put. Yeah,
So
you're right.
unfortunately, as sometimes we as teachers or parents kill their creativity in the early years, but
Right.
here at ACOM, we want them to be themselves. We want them to be as creative as they can, as natural as they can, and learn in the best possible manner. So when they're exploring things on their own, when they're researching, when they're inquiring, when they're just being with nature, being messy, their sensory, development also takes place. The
Right.
sense of touch, the sense of smell, the sense of
Right.
sight. So all these basically trigger a lot of, curiosity amongst children, and it builds knowledge.
And I think natural way of learning,
Yes,
instead of
yes,
putting that information in someone's, in a child's mind.
Yes, yes.
They're doing it on their own.
They're doing it naturally. So the effort is also less,
Yeah, very less.
Yeah. So although sometimes it's just felt like maybe a child is doing nothing. Child is even if a child is probably digging his or her hands into the mud and looking at what exactly it is, maybe a layman would feel nothing is happening, but learning is happening at each and every step.
Right.
Creativity is building up in the child's mind, and the child is exploring
Yeah.
a lot of things.
So we'll walk around the school and see how we have set up the school with all the
Sure.
natural resources.
How we have set up.
We have set up, yes.
So this is like a glimpse into one of the classrooms here. We can definitely not use plastic here, and the
It's
resources.
highly toxic also, right?
It's
The
highly
toxic,
toxic.
and yeah, it's carcinogenic if the saliva goes in, digs into the plastic
Yes.
and then they swallow that. It's
Yes.
really, really toxic and dangerous.
Yeah.
So yeah, so these are all your wooden
So
resources.
yeah, and again, all the chairs and tables that we use in the school. This is a classroom for playgroup, so there's hardly any furniture here. There's a lot of outdoors and nature outside, and the resources that have been used here are all wooden and safe for children. In fact, we've also kept in mind the safety of the furniture also. There are no sharp edges. The walls are all padded, and children love to sometimes explore things here and there, and they're running around in the classroom at times. So everything that we've used in school is very child safe.
And also the colors, remember we didn't wanted like too stimulating colors like the
Yes.
reds and greens, blues and yellows.
Yeah.
But we kept the palette very natural, so other factors don't stimulate them, but the right factors stimulate them, when they're
So our
learning.
activities are colorful, and the surroundings are very subtle, so that children do not get distracted.
Right, that's right. You want to see the
Yes, so this is
outside.
the outdoors, and we make sure that children use a lot of outdoors again because they tend to explore a lot. They tend to play. They become naturally inclined to learning.
Right.
And this is an example of a sensory table that we use in most of the classrooms for children.
Can I
Again,
feel?
yes, please. So it's not just the feeling of touch; it's also the feeling of sight, smell. So sound. So you can shake and find out how the sound is different from this, how the sound is different from this. So exploring all the senses and
Different textures.
Yes.
And the sound the dried leaves might make.
When children inquire into all these things and they are exploring, they tend to ask us a lot of questions.
Oh, right.
And these are not just to probably feel and see and probably hear what kind of sound they make. We also use them in a lot of activities. They are also
Art
one of
and
our
craft?
yes.
Oh, okay.
So you know what? We have used these kind of twigs and made a lot of natural brushes also in school.
Yeah, during the launch time, I remember. Yes, that was so creative, I thought.
So a lot of children in fact wanted to do it on their own also, collect leaves, grass and probably stick it to a brush and use it for painting.
Wow, how cool is that?
So we need to see all around in our nature. There's a lot that we can learn from, and we don't really need to spend money to buy those resources. They're all available.
Absolutely, I can't agree more.
So I would also want you to see how we've used cloth and wood for our furniture in school. There's no leather, no synthetic. A lot of bamboo is being used in school to give it a very natural look, to make it look warm.
And my favorite library.
Yes.
This is my favorite part.
Yes.
Mukta.
So again, the entrance into the library directly is to develop a love for books for children. Because again, reading is a very essential part of their growing up also.
Right.
And yes, don't miss this out. This is a recycle bin. All our classrooms and common spaces have a recycle bin. So whatever we use in school, the teachers are using for the virtual classes, the leftovers, the paper, we do not throw it off. We put it in the recycle bin and try to reuse it if possible. Otherwise, we collect it and we see how we can make the best use of it in the long run.
That's
And in
wonderful.
fact, we don't even throw the dried leaves and all. I mean, we use it for a lot of art material. If not, we collect it and put it back into the soil for it to become a natural fertilizer.
Wow. So waste segregation and reusing.
Yeah.
Most of the material here is
Yes,
happening. So
yes,
fabulous.
And these are some habits we do want our children to learn.
Right.
Because these are the practices which will be very beneficial to them in the long run.
True. Mukta, I want you to show our kitchen. And remember this, we did not wanted plastic planters
Yes,
and made sure we got the cane
yes,
ones.
Yes. And look at this as well.
Oh, I didn't see
Remember
this.
these baskets? We basically use them to stock up stuff. Here we put some tissue papers for children to probably use.
Interesting. Go.
We cook lunch for teachers on school so that they don't order from outside, and we make sure that they eat a well-balanced diet. Remember how particular you were to include salads in their diet?
In fact, the whole menu was created, a week's menu was created for teachers, and I'm glad you guys are still following. And don't you think it's very important to kind of have home cooked meals? That way, the teachers are also healthy, and healthy teachers are very important for any school.
Yes.
And I really love the way everything is laid out.
Yeah, and it's all steel.
Oh yes,
and we ensure we use less oil, and so the teachers are always active as well,
That's
because
true.
even usage of a lot of oil makes them lethargic, and a lot of masalas and stuff like that.
Right, so light, well-balanced food.
Yes.
So teachers are energetic and they can sustain great health.
Correct. And they're also involved in menu planning at times, so we ensure there's no wastage of food.
Yeah, that's very
And,
important.
if ever there's any leftovers, we share it with our security guard. We let the DDs take it back home. So there's absolute zero wastage of food in school.
I think that's very, very important. Yeah,
Yeah.
very important.
So here we have Ms. Sana with us, who is going to tell us how we've adopted sustainability and usage of natural resources to mentor our teachers and pass on our vision to our children as well as the parents.
Hi, I'm Sana, and I'm a mentor teacher as well as a virtual teacher here at ACOM. And the day when I joined here, it was a very exciting experience because I got to learn a lot about sustainable lifestyle, and that was the vision of the founders, and that's what has been instilled in all of us. And we make it a conscious effort to do little bits here and there so that it helps the nature in some way. It is a small step though, but I think we are making a little difference. So our founders are very particular about little aspects where we make difference. So the festive season was here, and during Christmas we all gathered, had a little collab here and there, and we all got out with an idea where we created a Christmas tree on our own. It was an idea that was given to us from our founders, and then we immediately jumped into it, and then we started working on it, and it was really an exhilarating experience because we got to made it on our own. And it was not a day's experience, but we had to do it for a day, 2 or 3, and where we used newspapers, and we tried using a lot of jute ropes and pots and stick to make it a big frame. The main idea was not to use plastic because the Christmas trees that we get commercially are plastic, and the ornaments that we use are all plastic. So we just wanted to scrap that and be very natural, very organic with what we do. And another thing that we do is during our leisure time, we kind of make little bags with newspaper, and these bags are really fun to make with. And we all sit together. So that's the time where I think it also helped us, all teachers, to bond. And a lot of natural resources we use during our virtual classes. Also we include things, and during our celebrations also we use things that are very natural, paper, no use of plastic at all. And we've understood, because of our founders, again we've understood that using plastic is so hazardous to every living being on the planet Earth. And that's where we have, I think, all of us become very organic, very understanding, very aware and mindful of what we do. And that's why during our events we handcraft our own decorations. During our virtual classes we make sure that we teach the children and the parents also how to use things, making best things out of waste and not throwing anything away, because a lot can be done through maybe an old newspaper or an old bottle. You can make a bird feeder or a planter. And in school as well, we do a lot of things that are very organic. For instance, we do not use any synthetic Play-Doh. Even in our virtual classes, we make sure that we show parents how to make Play-Doh at home using flour and maybe a little bit of rava mixed into it, adding a little color. And again, we also instill parents and we also practice. Yes, it's a little messy, but we try making colors out of beetroot and spinach and use a lot of turmeric. So everything is natural, there's no synthetic material, and even if we are throwing it out, it's being one with nature. And not to mention that the biggest achievement or something that we feel proud of is that the Christmas tree inspired a lot of people to create their own Christmas trees, and we have received a lot of pictures from parents showing how they have got inspiration from us to make Christmas tree at home, involving children and making it a family affair. And also we do a lot of, again, use newspapers to do gift wrapping, and during our Christmas Secret Santa, which we did with teachers around, I think I got into a little naughty thing where we wrapped Christmas gifts in newspaper and made cutouts out of newspapers to make it look fun, and also it is a good practice to follow.
Hi, so I'm here at Ekam and I can't believe it's been 1 year already. It's been a roller coaster here, but I'm so proud of the fact that we were still able to impart high quality education through our virtual school, and this has only been possible because of our amazing team here at Ekam and also an amazing parent community who has motivated us through tough times. All I can say is we're ready for another action-packed, fun-filled year with memories that will last for a lifetime.
So I'm going to introduce Rani, our head housekeeping staff. Rani, what's in your hand, and can you please talk about that?
Yes, ma'am. We are trained to use this bioenzymes, and it's made out of fruits.
Right. Fermented fruit peel. Rani is still learning.
Yeah, and this has a very good smell and no chemical in it.
Yes.
It's very nice and it does this work very clean and neat.
Oh, perfect.
And we are using this, and this bottle also has been recycled, and we send them back to the whoever supplies us, and they refill it and send it back to us.
That's fabulous. Can I smell, Rani? Oh, it's got a citrusy smell, especially when you have so many children at school. This is absolutely non-toxic, no chemicals, so works great. Thank you, Rani.
And we are trained to use the water also very less in our school, and we don't waste much water. And all our taps in a school, we have special nozzles which uses very less water. In that way, we don't need to waste the waters.
Wow. The plants have grown really.
Yeah, we've been
Big.
taking a lot of care of these plants.
Look at this mint, beautifully grown.
It's so soothing, and in fact it's so gratifying to see our plants growing.
Yes. I think some of them have brinjals too here.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have collaborated with Home Crop, and they have a program called School Crop, which resonated with our ideology and philosophy to introduce children to gardening at an early age. So Mukta will talk about the learning outcomes that the kids would have when introduced to gardening at such a young age.
Yeah, so we were very excited to include gardening into our curriculum, and a lot of subjects are integrated with gardening actually. Again, it's one of the natural ways that the children would learn, because they love to explore. They love to put their hands into the soil, to see the texture, to smell, you know. Again, that's a lot of sensory play, as I was telling you earlier. And gardening teaches them a lot of patience. It teaches a lot of life skills also. Patience, it teaches empathy, it teaches the love for nature.
Nurturing, caring.
Yes, yes. And apart from that, we also have a lot of curricular subjects included, integrated with gardening. For example, maths.
Oh.
So when you are looking at the plants growing, you can teach them measurement, you can teach them the concepts of long, short, many, less, a lot of other things. And in fact, numbers, how many plants are there, they can count leaves, they can count branches. Then
Shapes of different
correct.
leaves also,
Yes,
I guess.
Yes. So gardening is not just very therapeutic for children, it also leads to learning in a very natural manner.
Right.
So I can see you already enjoying the smell of
this
pudina.
is so. My God, you should see this.
Yeah, wow, that's
Such
really
a
nice.
strong fragrance.
So it's basically the gardening brings the concept of integrated learning, and it's just one of the ways where we're exposing children to their natural way of learning.
And also, I feel they start respecting,
Yes.
where the food comes from, how
Yes.
long it takes for a brinjal to grow
Yes.
before we, use it to cook it and eat
Yes.
it. So they will never waste food, and
Correct.
they will respect, as you said, patience, perseverance, being able to wait. I think, I wish I had gardening classes when I was growing up.
Yeah. So through gardening, we're also teaching them to take care of these plants. In fact, the plan is that children come here every day, water the plants, take care of them.
Right.
So all these, planters will be labeled class-wise, and it becomes like a group effort. And it also leads a lot to basically sharing and caring for the environment.
And they should also know that the plant might die if they don't
Yes,
care for it.
Yes. So the basic things that are required for plants to grow is like water, sunlight, good nutrition. Even plants need nutrition. So what kind of fertilizers will be put into it.
So I think the kids should also know, will also know by gardening that the plant can die if they don't care for it.
Yeah, correct. So the things that are required for sustenance, for survival of all living things is sunlight, air, water, in fact fertilizers as well. So
We use only natural fertilizers,
Yes.
not to miss that point.
yeah. So children will be taught all of these practices at school, and we're sure that learning is going to happen in a very natural and easy way.
Did you ever see pests?
Yes, so we do attract pests also at time, and in fact children should know that they're also a part of gardening. It comes as a package along with that.
It's the ecosystem, when you
Yes.
have a plant, the
Yeah.
pest comes, you need to
Yeah.
know how to take care of
Yes,
it again.
yes.
Well, that's beautiful. Actually, these are growing beautifully.
Very, very therapeutic, right?
Absolutely. So Mukta, can you tell us what happens to all this produce? How do you use this?
Oh, that's the most exciting part. So when these plants grow, the plan is to cut them and involve all the children in making something very yummy and tasty for them. So this way they'll also get to know what they have worked hard on has yielded some results, and it's something which is very healthy, and they can use it to eat it as well.
So you do it in the kitchen here?
Yes, and it will be cooked at school.
Fabulous. Please call me that day.
Yes, definitely. You will be invited for eating maybe some healthy sandwiches and salads.
I would love
that
to.
day.
I will never say no to naturally grown food without pesticides.
Yeah. And it's going to be very gratifying for us to actually eat what we've grown in school.
Absolutely.
This is the terrace of a school, and we've tried to utilize each and every area to its maximum potential. And this is the place where physical development classes will take place. It's surrounded by a lot of trees all around.
Right.
And we made sure that the place is safe and secure for children, and we want to toughen them up. So expose them even to the outdoors and not just be indoors all the time.
Air conditioned.
Yes.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
And
So they can feel the sun
Yes.
and be out in the open,
Yes.
sweat it out a little.
correct. Yeah, because that's also very important for children.
Right. Thank you, Mukta, for taking us around the school and explaining everything that we do here. Finally, do you want to say something to my viewers?
Yeah. So we wish to bring a change in the way early years education is looked at by creating environmentally conscious citizens of the future. And we hope these small steps are able to bring the difference. And we're looking forward to growing leaps and bounds.
Hope so too.
Yeah,
Thank you, Mukta.
Thank you so much.
Shilpa and I are very proud of what we built at ACOM, keeping in mind our ethos on sustainable living and a sustainable lifestyle. I hope you have a wonderful episode.
So that was Ekam for you. Ekam means oneness, Ekam means number one, Ekam means inclusiveness. The idea behind this is to bring this into our children's life, for them to feel one with nature, for them to know that we all exist together. We don't exist here exclusively. We are one with everything. We are a part of ecosystem. With that idea, we started Ekam, and the name Ekam comes from. I hope you all enjoyed watching this episode. Stay tuned for more updates. Please do subscribe to my channel. See you all next week. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.